no more. And then they tried to say the same thing about hip hop. Oh, they ain't gonna last. And I used the analogy that I came up with a while ago. I was in the studio kicking it. And I said, imagine a little kid born to a single mom.
Thank you, Rock Fresh. Make sure you guys check out the Pack and Ganja show on Super Audio Network. Appreciate you, man.
Much love, Rock Fresh. Imagine a single mom having a kid. Ladies, she's not wealthy at all. She has a kid, and the kid, they tell you the kid ain't gonna make it. The kid ain't gonna make it. The kid ain't gonna make it. And nobody pays this kid no attention. One day he gets out the hospital, and the mom dies. And next thing you know, this kid is big and taking over the world, and nobody wants to pay him no attention because they think the kid ain't gonna be around no time. Well, that was disco and hip hop. Hip hop was born through disco. Sugar Hill Gang, perfect example. Sugar Hill disco gave birth to Sugar. The track "Good Times" gave birth to Rappers Delight. And this is gonna be a fad. It ain't gonna last no time. And that shit kept on going, kept on going. And even when hip hop was being successful, the record executives who knew R&B and soul music didn't understand hip hop. So they had no input when it came to hip hop, none. So they let the kids run hip hop. Kids like myself, kids like Puffy, kids like Eazy E. So as this thing starts to get bigger and starts to develop, it got so big, couldn't nobody do nothing with it no more. And I think that's why we have what we have. We never had hip hop never had any real guidance. Nobody thought it was gonna last. Nobody paid no attention till it got so big that they had to pay attention. But for the people who got the money and the power, they so far behind the game, they got to put somebody who they think knows what they're doing. That's how you get your Puffies. That's how you get your Easies and other hip hop moguls, because the people that got the money, know the game, got the avenues to make things happen. They don't know nothing about it, so they just give somebody some money who they think knows what he's doing. And for the most part, they thought right. For the most part.
Now, thank you once again. Let me see. Studio 54 was a huge disco in New York. Was there a West Coast equivalent to Studio 54?
Yeah. It was a couple of them, Doc. It was a couple of them. Florentine Gardens on Hollywood Boulevard was massive.
They were doing it like that back then in the 70s?
Florentine Gardens was around.
Nice.
They were something else. Florentine Gardens was a disco before it was a hip hop club. I used to perform in Florentine Gardens in the 80s. So, and it was big, it was huge before I got there. I'm gonna have to say yes, for lack of better knowledge. But I know for a fact the Ice House that what was it? Paradise 24. That was another huge facility. Paradise 24 was on Santa Monica. Hollywood had a few big clubs. Then they had Dillon's in Westwood. Dillon's in Westwood was 4 floors. It wasn't big, it was tall. And they had like 4 floors of entertainment. And three floors was disco, 1 was live entertainment, and 1 floor was strictly for youngsters, like the second and third floor, for 18 and under. Everything else was grown folks. But yes, back in the day, we had quite a few spots. I don't think anything was as elaborate as disco. I mean, that club, but for the most part, we did have a few spots out here that was doing their thing, man.
All right. It's the height of the disco era. Lonzo is about to go to a club tonight, man. He's about to get all fresh, throwing on his best gear. He's about to go holler at the ladies. Picture yourself looking in the mirror in, let's say, 1978. What are you wearing right now?
I'm wearing some tight ass. I'm wearing a tight ass rolling shirt with some Nick pants, seamless. They seamless, okay. And what I mean by that is the pants were almost like yoga pants. they kind of fit you like yoga pants, but the seam was on the inside, not the outside. Okay, it didn't hit you. It didn't hold your leg all the way down, but it held your butt, your nuts, and your thighs real tight. Okay, and you had your like I said, you had your Nick shirt, and that might have cost you $30 back then. Okay, you had your shirt buttoned down to the middle of your chest. Back then I didn't have a jerry curl. I had a big old natural still, and I just might have got out. I might have been wearing some platform shoes, man. I might have had some platforms. I did platforms for a minute, and platforms hurt your feet like a motherfucker. Platforms, man. You talking about you think your woman got catch heels and high heels? Put on a pair of platforms. When I started wearing platforms, went out the style, I was happy. Okay, I was happy. Them big potato toe 3-inch heel, some bitches would wear, and you had a 3-inch heel, and you had a 1-inch, sometimes 1.5-inch platform bottom. So you know, if you was 5'11" like I am, you 6'1" in your platforms, and then you had then they had the big cuff on the bottom of them. That was another thing. We had the big cuff to cover up the toe of your platform shoes, and I might have had on a maxi coat depending on where I was going. I might have had a maxi coat on. My maxi coat came past your knees. That was some Superfly looking shit. And later on, I started wearing all them shirts. I started wearing turtlenecks and maxi coat. That was cool. Man, you couldn't tell me shit.
I can picture now, man. All right, so let's go to the ending of disco and the beginning of hip hop. You know, New York has this new sound everyone's following. Big hit records, Sugar Hill Gang, like we mentioned earlier. But what year, if you could put a year on it, what year did West Coast hip hop start, in your opinion?
Man, I'm gonna have to say 1977. Me and Kelvin Anderson had this conversation last week. Because in 1977, well, 1974, when they said it started in New York, we was deeply engulfed in R&B down here. We was deep. They ain't talked about the disco era. The 70s, most of the 70s was disco till about 78, 79, but we were starting to get some other stuff. Okay, and we ain't had no hits yet. We didn't get our first hit to Sugar Hill Gang, as far as I know. Okay, we didn't get our first hit to Sugar Hill Gang, but we were on the path to hip hop by this time. The reason why I say 77, I got to say 77 because in 1977 is when me and Roger